we'll hop on in here in a few minutes. Yeah, pretty quick. Yeah, it's like less than 5 minutes. Oh, awesome. We love it. More crap to full time. Quick round of pronouncements.
You might need to sit here.
We might, but I'll probably go over here. We'll figure it out.
Sounds good.
So getting up to tonight's crosstown brawl, last week, the Mt Si Wildcats defeated Kennedy by a score of 30-11. The Eagles coming off last week victorious over Iowa. They won by a score of 24-13.
You ready to go?
Yep.
All right. We got 10 minutes left on the clock, so let's see here.
Yeah, go ahead and talk for me so I can make sure I got you.
Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Check test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Check test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Check,
6,
check,
7,
check.
8, 9, 10. Check test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Check test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you very much for the wah-wah. All right, I think we're good. And if you want to, you can put some of that up over here if you want it out of the way or
No,
not.
this is fine.
Whatever works for you.
This is going to be interesting with the cords. People walking in and out.
Yep, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting is the word for it. I say that every broadcast.
Yeah, I understand. Watch out behind you.
Yep. Oh, he's got to move the cam. All right.
Well, the thing that's frustrating is they don't need to stand on the benches.
No, they don't. Any idea who's winning the toss out there right now?
No.
I think they're going over the rules at the moment. 1 minute? Let's go in 1 minute. You want to go in 1 minute? Yep. Okay. Okay. Let me see here. All right, now where did I put my notes? Always happens to me. There it is. Scribble all over these things. Hello and welcome to Friday Night Football on PlayOnSports.com. Live from Whiteman Stadium.
We got a little bit.
Yeah, I think we do because we have last week's game to talk about. I think we also have there's going to be a run out. There's going to be national anthem. So I think we can kill some time.
I got three right
okay,
there.
Great. We'll get into that. We'll talk about our keys to the game then. Da 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 da. All right, let's go in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, Hello and welcome to Friday Night Football on PlayOnSports.com, live from Wildcat Stadium in Mt Si High School in Snoqualmie, Washington. I'm Alex Webster with Scott Eklund on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. Tonight's matchup features the visiting Eagles of Issaquah High School against the host Wildcats of Mt Si High School. Issaquah comes into tonight's game with an overall record of 1-0, while the home team, Mt Si, is also 1-0. Glad you could join us here on Friday Night Lights on PlayOnSports.com. A barn burner on tap for you here as Issaquah comes in as this 4A classification's number 6 ranked team by the Seattle Times. Meanwhile, in the 3A classification, the Wildcats of Mt Si High, they're ranked number 3. These two schools matched up just 20 minutes apart. We're going to have a great show for you tonight.
Yeah, and one thing that I like about high school football is just the setting. This is a small town. It's got a small town feel, but this has a big game feel to it. And that's one thing that you really like to see. You got a lot of stars on both sides of the ball and really a lot of good players out here.
As we get an opportunity to honor America here on the field, we will take a break, allow you to view in on the pageantry as we near the honoring of the September 11th date this upcoming week. So we do our part here to honor America along with the fans of Mt Si and Issaquah High School. As you hear the fans in the background here for Mt Si High, we're just adjacent to the student section, so you will hear all the pageantry of Friday Night Lights right through the audio portion of your computer or your TV tonight. Let's take a look at the Issaquah Eagles and their matchup from last week. They come into this one 1-0, the visiting team here. And last week they took on a team in Interlake High School who stepped up from the 2A classification. And it took them a while, but they got going. They eked out a 24-13 win. Jack Gallatley, 3 touchdowns, 175 yards rushing in this one. He's going to be a key performer tonight for Issaquah.
Yeah, he is. He's really physical in between the tackles, but he's got enough speed to get outside and break the long ones, which is what he did against Interlake last week.
Yeah. As far as Mt Si High, they were the ones coming in last week to the opener with the tough matchup. They were taking on Kennedy, who at that time was ranked 9th in the state. Mt Si High ranked 4th. That was going to be a battle. It was anything but. As Mt Si ripped off a 30-0 victory, they owned that one.
Yeah, it really shut down an ever-expanding kind of Kennedy offense. It's going from more of a wing tee to a spread. trying to use a little bit more spread, and they just weren't able to function. The quarterback only threw for 3 yards during that game. But the thing about Mt Si that you really have to like is they're physical, but they have a ton of playmakers. They've got Hunter Malberg. They've got Jimbo Davis. They've got Nick Mitchell. They've got a ton of players to throw the ball to and get the ball in their hands and let them make plays.
But it will be the defense that will start out on the field first as we'll get ready for the kick here momentarily. And it will be the Wildcats that will kick off here on their home opener. But when we talk about kicking in this game, we've got a couple of outstanding kickers on both sides of the ball. One of them that is one kick away from setting the state record.
Yes, Cameron Van Winkle from Mt Si, who you're going to see kick off right here, number 13. He's actually committed to the University of Washington. He's got a huge leg. He has 33 field goals made in his career, and one more to tie the record, I believe, and one more to break it. So, he's a big-time kicker. He's a weapon. Anytime they get the ball to about the 40-yard line of the opponent, he's a weapon to possibly use.
And interesting, you should mention his commitment to the University of Washington. The person that holds the record right now, Washington State University's kicker, Andrew Fernie, at this point in the game.
Exactly. So, got a Husky-Cougar battle going on there.
Well, we're going to have a Wildcat-Eagle battle here about set to take place, as indeed it will be Cameron Van Winkle who will line this one up for the kickoff, and we're just about set to get this ball game underway here. Glad you could join us. Couldn't be a better night for high school football in the state of Washington. So here is Cameron Van Winkle set to kick off to the two deep men for Issaquah, and this one is back deep into the end zone, eyes in the face of the potential return man, Chris Egland, and he just lets it bounce off his shoulders, and that's going to be good. They'll bring it out to the 20, and here we go.
Yeah, I'd be real shocked if Issaquah gets any kind of a kickoff return tonight, because Van Winkle's got such a huge leg.
Starting lineup on offense for the Issaquah Eagles, you see it right there. They're keyed by their quarterback, Chaz Peterson, and of course, it's Jack Gallatley that will be key as well. Also keep your eye on those receivers out there and that big tight end, Connor Veach. Wide receiver Ken Norton III, you might be familiar with that name. That's the son of longtime NFLer and current linebacker coach for the Seahawks, Ken Norton Jr.
Yep.
So here we go from the 20, and then of course the Issaquah Eagles, their colors purple and gold, wearing the road white, scarlet and gray, donned by the Wildcats of Mt Si High School. And here's Peterson calling them out with a wide open formation, and the first pass is deflected. Already the defense for Mt Si right in the face, and Griffin McLean, a big 6'4", 245-pound defensive end. He's a senior, putting up the big swat.
Yeah, got it. His hands up. You know what they always tell you, your coaches will always tell you that we want our guys to get their hands up if they're not going to get to the quarterback.
So Issaquah with that open backfield on that first play going to the pass, and now you'll look with the linemen already set up there in their splits. They look over to the sideline for the call from their offensive coordinator, who is their head coach, Chris Bennett, who is the 2009 4A KingCo Crest Division Coach of the Year. Split backs in the backfield as Peterson looks to hand it off. Nope, he'll keep it himself around the right end, looking for a little bit of room. He'll get a couple of yards, but it's going to bring up 3rd and long after the bootleg. Not sure if that was a missed play or if that was called all the way.
Yeah, Hank Van Loo got in there for Mt Si, and you can see that they're really going to key on number 5, Jack Gallatley, tonight.
So 3rd down and 6 to go, just underway here in Snoqualmie, Washington. And the sun going to be a little bit of a factor as these two teams work with the long shadows here in the early part of this one before the lights take effect. It's an absolutely gorgeous night. So it looks like 3 receivers to the near side. They'll have the lone setback. Will Issaquah's Chaz Peterson will come to the line. Jack Gallatley, that's the guy back there. 3 touchdowns last week on 175 yards rushing, yet to touch the ball in this one. Here's the snap to Peterson. He looks wide to the right side. First down territory, he's got it. He connects right there with Kenny Norton III, the senior wideout, picking up the first down, and a good start for Issaquah.
Yeah, we talk about Ken Norton's father, but Ken Norton III, he isn't bad either. He's a very good athlete, really started to pick up the game well last year as a junior, and caught that pass right in front of Trent Riley.
So Gallatley, the star in last week's game, again, just 4 plays into this one. This is coming up the 4th play, and he's yet to have his hands on the ball, but we've seen so far the pass has been effective.
And you can see Mt Si has 8 players in the box right now looking to stop the run but also get out on the pass.
So Peterson will have to try and pull the trigger on a little blitz shown. Now here comes Gallatley looking around the near side, able to evade 1 defender but not 2, and he'll get caught for minimal gain, if that.
Great recognition by Jimbo Davis coming off the edge right there. coming up instead of and shirking his pass responsibility, realizing it's run, coming up and making the stop.
11:20 to go, first quarter. No score on the opening possession by the visiting Issaquah Eagles. Again, just 20 minutes apart, these two schools, and playing in two different classifications within the KingCo conference. And the Eagles looking to draw first blood in this one. They're going to have a long way to go. It's 2nd and 10 on no gain off of that run by Gallatley. They had a slow start last week. They actually scored on their opening drive last week and then just fizzled out for a while until they put it together late in the game. Gallatley takes the inside handoff, running, carrying guys with him, and he'll pick up a good chunk of yardage, and we got our first hanky of the contest coming out here. So we'll settle this one out here in just a moment.
Evan Johnson had him around the legs, but the guy who came in to clean up is a guy to keep an eye on, number 24, Hunter Malberg. He's a big-time talent, can play both ways, and is actually getting looks from quite a few 1AA and even some lower-end 1A schools.
Early indication by one of the Wildcats players was that it is against Mt Si, and it is a face mask, so that's big yardage. The officiating crew in this one, that's Jeff Matson, the white hat, the referee, calling out the signs and signals there. Umpire is Steve Hauser. The linesman is Dean Shull. The line judge is Matt Brown, and the back judge is Matt Englund.
One thing to keep an eye on is if you just eye test the Issaquah and Mt Si defensive and offensive lines, they are very evenly matched. Sometimes in high school you'll see a lot of very huge offensive lines and small defensive lines. These are two very big lines on both sides.
Huge first down after the penalty. 1st and 10 now into Wildcat territory. Gallatley on the carry. Tucks it into his left arm and rumbles ahead near first down territory. He'll be a couple yards shy of that, but a good chunk of yardage here now on his 3rd carry.
And on that one, Evan Johnson again with the tackle. He's already got 2 tackles tonight on Gallatley, and Gallatley's already off to a pretty good start.
Gallatley, just a junior. This is his 3rd year of varsity, so you see talent out there, and you know he's been playing for a while. We have a little stoppage in the action while the officials now reset the clock, and here we go. 10 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Issaquah on the drive. They've put together a couple of runs, a couple of passes, actually 1 pass, and then we're aided then by the face masking call a moment ago. Close to another first down here as they have it 2nd down and 3 to go. After a slight delay, they decided to look over to the sidelines and get the call once again.
This is something you see a lot in high school football nowadays. The coach is making the calls on the side.
Peterson with it, looking down the middle, and overshoots the intended receiver, and we'll go to 3rd and 3 here in just a moment.
He looked like he had Connor Beach open down the middle. He had beaten the safety there, but just wasn't able to connect. That was a good call. Something to beat a very aggressive defense like Mt Si is calling right now. They're really clouding that line, trying to stop the run.
You see some veteran play back there as all of the skill players are all looking over to the side, including Gallatley there and Peterson. Peterson, the quarterback, Gallatley, the running back, and of course 4 receivers in this set. They like to open it up, and they'll see what they can do to try and pick up this next first down. Of course, they have themselves a decent kicker as well, but we're outside of field goal territory as of yet. Mt Si fans getting into this one. Peterson will take it, option to carry it, and he's going to get smothered in the backfield.
Great play by Hank Van Loo. Getting in there, making the play, sure stop, hitting Chaz Peterson, and now Bennett has a decision to make.
He does now with 4th and 3 at Mt Si's 41. Depends on what you think you have to gain in terms of field position at this point. It's not in field goal range, so they're going to chance it here on 4th and 3. And a lot of folks you see doing that. When it's into the other team's territory, if you get a touchback, you only have a few yards to gain, really, so why not take advantage and try to keep your offense on the field, especially against a high-powered Mt Si team. Peterson in trouble, has it deflected, and it's incomplete, fortunately for Issaquah, as that one was almost picked off of the deflection.
Johnson and McLean were both in on that play. McLean bats it. Johnson's wrapped around Chaz Peterson's waist. Goes for naught. And now Mt Si has great field position to start their offensive drive.
They'll take over on their own 42 after the deflected pass. And again, that defense for Mt Si helping to set the tone. After a couple of first downs picked up by the Eagles, Mt Si will have their first offensive possession here. And here's the snap and the handoff off the left side. And about 5 yards picked up on the carry by Riley Reed, 5'11", 190-pound senior.
And as I noted, earlier in the Issaquah drive, you're going to see two lines, the Issaquah defensive line and the Mt Si offensive line are matched up very evenly size-wise. They're both active and they're both very physical.
Take a look at those names on your screen because we're going to be calling a lot of those names throughout the evening. Nick Mitchell is the quarterback. He'll step up in there. 6'2", 170-pound junior. He'll work with two receivers to the right, but he'll have to wait and see what the call is here. Looks like it might be delay of game, or do we have a timeout on the field? We do. We have a timeout taken by Mt Si here with 8:06 left to go. They couldn't get their second play off, so it will be 2nd down and 5 here in just a moment. Do you want to watch more of your school's great matchups like the game you're enjoying here tonight? Tell your school to sign up for the Play On Sports School Broadcast Program. The program allows schools to broadcast all their games and other activities on the web. For more information, go to playonsports.com/SBP. No score here in the opening quarter. Mt Si with their opening possession. Their head coach, Charlie Canoon, in his 20th season, and where did he go to high school? He went to Issaquah back in '81 when there was not much of a setup out here in Snoqualmie.
Exactly.
That was a while back. He was KingCo All-League in 78, 79, and 80, 2006 head coach of the year, and just a long tenured, and he's everything you kind of want to see in a high school coach. We had a chance to talk to him a little bit before the game.
Yeah, he's just a really great guy. He really cares about his players, but he also just loves the high school football game. He loves to have great matchups like this in non-league. Mt Si never shies away from playing some of the top teams that they can find, and tonight they're really going to be in a battle tonight. It's going to be tested. They're going to be tested pretty well.
So here we go, coming out of the timeout. A couple of receivers to the right side, one to the top of your screen. Here's the pitch out to the right side, and a little bit of running room, but not much, as finally ripped down for Mt Si is Riley Reed once again.
Yeah, and I believe Eric Rao was the one who made that tackle. He's a starter on the offensive line. He plays middle linebacker for the Eagles on defense, and really he's their emotional leader on defense. He really leads it for them.
Reed will check out as Joey Cotto, a 5'6", 161-pound senior, will check in as the third down back here. A couple of receivers to the top of the screen. And here is Mitchell. Quick pass to the open man, overshoots him, and here we go to 4th down. As the Wildcats had the man open, but a little bit of early game jitters perhaps.
Yeah, Jimbo Davis very wide open. Didn't have a guy within about 10 yards of him. Nick Mitchell, I think when they go back and review that tape over the weekend, he's going to really regret not making that play because that could have easily extended the drive.
So here's Cameron Van Winkle, as we talked about, already committed to the University of Washington as a kicker. He's on to punt, and this one not a good one. And he's disappointed about this one as it bounces and then takes an Issaquah Eagles bounce. It's going to net out as about a 4-yard punt after the bounce. And Cameron Van Winkle and Mt Si can't be happy about that.
Now, Van Winkle is actually being recruited to Washington as a kicker, and I think you kind of see why. He's an erratic punter. He's still got a big leg. He just isn't the greatest at dropping it. And anybody who's coached punting will tell you the drop is the most important thing.
Yeah, and right here, it's the Issaquah Eagles that will take advantage of what is, that one carried a bunch in the air, but just not a great bounce at all. But the Eagles will try to take advantage of the kind roll here, 1st and 10 from their own 44-yard line. So they get a few first downs on their opening series. This will be their second series, and we'll see what they do here. They operate, again, with Jack Gallatley in the backfield, but also back there is Tyler Sheehan as the big fullback, and now a late entry onto the field, and perhaps too much time taken as the officials blow their whistle.
Looks like they got a timeout.
So both teams burning timeouts here early in this one. 7:16 left to go. No score in this regional rival of 4A versus 3A. The Eagles of Issaquah against the Mt Si Wildcats. And we'll talk about some keys to the game. We didn't get a chance to talk about them in the pregame, but here's an opportunity right now. So some keys for tonight's contest.
Well, for Mt Si, since they're on defense right now, we'll talk about them first. Mt Si has to stop the run. We've talked about Jack Gallatley. Chaz Peterson is a good quarterback. He's not one of those guys who's going to carry the team on his back and be able to pass them to a win. Jack Gallatley is the key to the Issaquah offense. So that's their real key. And then defensively, Issaquah has two keys. One is to stop the pass. Nick Mitchell, even though that first pass looked a little hitchy out there, he's going to definitely put up some yards and make some completions tonight. And for Issaquah, they really have to avoid the turnovers, because putting Mt Si in good field position like they did, I mean, you could actually count that first drive as a turnover because they gave him such good field position.
Well, Chaz Peterson, the senior leader out there on the offense, will work with split backs here and a receiver to either side as they come out of the timeout. Ooh, and a big hit on the high pass. And is this a case of early jitters by both quarterbacks as they've been a little bit high?
Yeah, I think so. But Peterson at least has thrown a couple passes tonight. That was a little surprising, because if he put that right in the breadbasket, that would have been a completion pretty easily. Jimbo Davis, though, comes up and makes the receiver pay for trying to stretch out for that pass.
Seems like that slot receiver has been the key for both teams early on. They just haven't been able to complete it.
Correct.
Out of the I formation, here comes Peterson with the early handoff. This time through, it's the fullback carrying Tyler Sheehan. And what a carry it was, close to a first down.
Great hole opened up over there on the left side by number 74. That is Eric Hall, actually, who helped open that side, as well as Eric Rao. So good job of opening up the lane, and Sheehan just hit the hole and made a good play out of it, giving him 3rd and short here.
3rd and a long one here. We'll see if they try to keep it on the ground after the nice carry by Tyler Sheehan. They go to Gallatley this time, and he'll take it off end and is close to the first down. Going to be a very, very interesting spot.
This is going to be one of those, which foot does he spot it with, his left or his right foot? And it looks like they're giving it to him.
Yep. It was close. It looked like the way that the linesman was marking it, that he had it, and then he kind of wound his way back towards the stake a little bit. But, yes, they'll give it to him. So another first down here by the Eagles, who have about 4 first downs into this one, and Mt Si with none thus far. Eagles in their second possession here, looking to break bread on the scoreboard. Nothing here in the first quarter. 6:14 remaining in the opening frame.
Not that this matters to the people that are watching right now, but for us, seeing those tall yard markers actually is pretty nice. You can actually see where things are.
That and the fans here as well. Peterson on the play fake, looking deep, right sideline, again overshooting the receiver. Intended for Craig Grewe, 6'1", 175-pound senior. He would have needed to have been about 7'5", and maybe had some hops to be able to pull that one down.
Yeah, covered over there by Trent Riley, who was right on the coverage, and that would have had to have been a perfect throw, and actually a really good play by the wide receiver.
Yeah, good coverage on that one. As we go 2nd and 10 here, one more time for Issaquah. It seems like they've kind of had, as we've mentioned, the success. Other than one first down on through the air, everything else has come on the ground thus far.
And really, Issaquah's only other first down, other than the one they've got on the ground, has been a penalty. So,
and the Eagles love to milk that play clock. Peterson looking right side again. Yet another deflection. And that one didn't even have to go up. Griffin McLean, he's already got 2 blocks, if you will, in this one.
And that one looked like he actually could have intercepted it if he had been expecting it where it was. So, because he's got great hands. He's a great tight end prospect, getting looked at by several schools.
Well, it looked like that one almost hit him in the elbow, because it looked like he came down holding his arm a little bit. That one wasn't nearly as high as he wanted. So another incompletion for Issaquah, and that one by the defense, getting great penetration. So 3rd down and 10, as the sun now gone off the playing field, and the lights will start to take effect as we're in the twilight hour here in the foothills of the Cascades. Handoff, Gallatley middle, nothing doing there, and we're going to have a long 4th down coming up, and who knows if the Eagles will opt to go for the long 4th down, or they're going to put a leg into this one, and here comes the kicking team on. It looks like they're going to try to pin them back.
Great job by Stephen Anub and Zachary Blazevich right there in the middle, holding strong, making it so that Gallatley didn't have a hole to run through, and all he was able to do was get a couple yards out of it.
Well, you got to be careful here, because Gallatley is the punter, and who knows what he might do when he gets his hands on the ball. Back deep for Mt Si on the return will be Tyler Button, 5'6", 140-pound wide receiver, defensive back. He's a senior. Gallatley puts the right foot into this one, and it's a good one. Button having to charge up on it, gets it clean, and then is brought right down just past the 20, maybe gets to about the 23, and that's where Mt Si will set up shop for their second drive with 5:03 left to go in the first quarter of play.
Great coverage down there by Tommy Nelson, Jr., 6', 175-pounder, who got down on the coverage and made the play.
We
for Issaquah.
We talk about a big 30-0 win over Kennedy last week at Highline Stadium over the 9th-ranked Lancers here for the Wildcats, and they got on the board early and often. 7 points in the first quarter, 13 in the second quarter, and then 10 points in the third quarter. So they had good pattern and good consistency. We'll see what they do here. The handoff up the middle and some running room there. We'll get about halfway to the yard marker, or to the first down marker. Pickup of about 5 or 6 for the Wildcats. That's Riley Reed. Reed busting a 73-yard touchdown run in the contest last week. So you know he can go the distance.
He definitely can. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if they just try and grind this out as much as possible. Don't put Nick Mitchell into too long of situations. Just let him get his nerves underneath and his feet underneath him.
They go with one back here as they have 4 receivers, 3 to the top of your screen. And they'll look for a quick hitch. Nothing there. Trying to make something out of nothing, and he flops forward for maybe a slight gain. It's going to be 3rd down and about 4 to go. Oh, maybe just a slight loss. Nope, they'll mark it no gain.
Yeah, that was no gain right there. But Mitchell is a kid who can actually run around a little bit. He's a good athlete, got a big arm, and he's pretty accurate. I'm surprised that they haven't tried to run just some more motions and being able to hit guys on the run, things like that. They've been running a lot of stop and curl routes and things like that, just trying to get him comfortable. But right now he's in a 3rd and about 4 situation.
Again, 3 receivers to the top. They're going to roll out to the left side. You talked about the big arm. He's going to try to use it here. He's got a man and overshoots him down around the 30-yard line. Wow, that is a good arm.
Yeah, he's got a great arm. He really spins it well. He saw his guy come open, and Button just didn't have quite enough speed to get underneath it. What you want to do, and I'm not going to sit here and tell him how to play quarterback, but you want to give it just a little bit more air underneath that, because Button does have the speed and quickness to get underneath it.
So it brings up 4th and 4 from back on the 29-yard line, and again it will be Van Winkle to punt, and the last one netted 4 yards. He's going to go for a big leg on this one. Much better kick this time around. And the Eagles will field it at the 39 and quickly hit and driven back for Issaquah as the return man, Kenny Norton.
And hitting him was Hunter Malberg. I told you to keep an eye on this guy. This guy is a football player. He won't really impress you from a physical standpoint, just from his height and weight. He's only about 5'11", 6 foot, 180 pounds, but he'll lay the lumber when he hits you, and he's also a really good wide receiver.
What a hit, and a much better punt that time. Going from the 29 now here to the 38-yard line.
And let's give props to Ken Norton for hanging on to that.
My goodness. That was a hit. Definitely a hit. He was driven back, and now he's going to try to make something happen as he's the receiver at the bottom of your screen. We'll see if they go to him early on in this series after taking that big hit. Sometimes you get the juices flowing, and that gets you into the game. 4 receivers in this set as Peterson will work with Galatney in the backfield. Little fake there. Tries the dump to Galatney on the screen, and nothing doing. There's nothing but red shirts there to bundle him up.
And on that one, Evan Johnson once again making that play in the middle. So far, he's been the defensive player of the game for me from Mt Si. Just been everywhere along that offensive line and right in that box.
Loss of 1 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 11. 3:04 left to go in a scoreless first quarter thus far from Wildcat Stadium here at Mt Si High School in Snoqualmie, Washington. Alex Webster along with Scott Eklund. Glad you could join us here on Friday Night Football on PlayOnSports.com and the WIAA network. Peterson fakes the handoff, getting chased, and he just got rid of that one. I could see why he threw behind the runner, because he had a big red jersey in his face. As I'll tell you what, player of the game so far has got to be Griffin McLean with the penetration he's had off of that left side of the defensive line. A couple of knockdowns already and just terrorizing the quarterback in the backfield.
Yeah, he's just so athletic and so long, 6'5", 200 and some odd pounds, 240, 250 pounds, can run, athletic, can get up. As you can see, he's a pretty good basketball player, so really tough to handle out there on the right side.
3rd and 11 coming up. This Mt Si defense holding the Kennedy Lancers to just 149 yards of total offense last week, only 3 yards passing. The Eagles trying to do better than that here. 4 receivers in the set, and the rollout by Peterson. On the run, looking for the first down marker, and it's incomplete.
Heck of a play out there by Tyler Button. Broke on the ball. He isn't a big guy, but he just knows how to play football. He read the play, broke on the pass, and broke it up before he was able to complete it.
So a defensive scrum here in the early part of this one, 2:37 remaining in the opening frame. We started this one in the long shadows with the sunset, and now the light's starting to take effect a little bit here. It will be Galatly for his second punt of the ball game, and looking for the return man. That is Button back there. Good return on his last one. We'll see what Galatly does with this one. More of a spinning end-over-end kick to the 20, aiming it for the coffin corner. This one bounds in and takes a great Eagles roll down to the 10-yard line. Wow. Talk about playing the carom. I don't know if he had a cue stick out there or was playing pool, but man, that bounce on the near sideline, allowing the yardage to meter to just kind of roll a bit on that one and pin Mt Si back once again.
42-yard punt for a guy who's kind of a jack of all trades for Issaquah, Jack Galatly. No pun intended on that.
Well, Galatly will also see some time on defense here as he's one of the top players on this team. Again, just a junior, so he'll be back next year.
His brother was a great running back, Grant Galatly. When last time Issaquah went to the state finals, Grant was one of the leaders of the team.
So it's in the blood as Mt Si takes over here deep in their own territory. The handoff to Riley is a good one. He's got that left sideline. Will he break away from the pack? He doesn't, but he gets a huge chunk of yardage as he works his way into Eagles territory, and man, is he a happy guy.
Boy, that was a 38-yard run to bring them right back to, they're only 4 yards past where Issaquah kicked the ball from. So great run, great way to get this offense kick-started. Now let's see what they can do from here.
Riley Reed with a huge run. We talked about a 73-yard touchdown run for him last week. Not a touchdown here, but the Wildcats will definitely take that huge gain right there. A 48-yard gain unofficially.
Great blocks over there. They always say big runs are keyed by wide receivers blocking downfield, and you can see right there that Jimbo Davis and Tyler Button actually got some blocks out there on the outside.
Mitchell, will he go to Reed again? He doesn't. He's looking for the receiver, and some laundry on the field, as calling for it before the flag got out there was Trent Riley.
And he had Jeff Shipley draped all over him. You could see it right from the get-go.
Riley, a great story, a senior who missed all of last season with microfracture surgery in his right knee. He's back healthy, and he's a two-sport star. You'll also see him on the basketball court as well. He was a big part of the game last week in the win over Kennedy as he caught a 46-yard touchdown pass in the early going of that one to get the scoring started. He had 5 receptions for 94 yards, and he's yet to get off the schneid in this one.
And Mitchell looked like he was a little bit better, more on. I think he's starting to get some confidence. He really planted that back foot and drove the ball, but obviously there was pass interference, so that's why it wasn't completed. But we'll see how he settles in. He still looks a bit shaky to me.
First down after the pass interference call at the 27. So quickly, Mt Si moving. The rollout to the right. Mitchell going to hang on to it, tries to evade tacklers, and he dives ahead past the 20-yard line and close to another first down. It's going to be a little bit short of it by about a yard or two.
Yeah, 8-yard gain there for Nick Mitchell, and a nice run, nice decision to tuck the ball down. He did have a receiver wide open in the middle, but you know, you always tell him you don't want him to to throw the ball late across the middle.
So just a few plays. It was not too long ago that Mt Si was backed up at their own 10-yard line after a punt, but after a long run, a pass interference call, and then a run by their quarterback, they hand off here into the middle looking for a first down, and they've got it. Joey Cotto on the carry that time for the first down, so the Wildcats on the move with 1:16 left to go in the opening quarter.
Cotto just planted his foot and hit the hole, and might have had a little bit more outside, but decided to get the first down, and that's actually what you want from him in that situation. So they can just get the first down, get a new set of downs, and inside the red zone now.
1st and 10 from the 16-yard line. Cotto will remain in as the up back in the I. In front of him is Evan Johnson. The give is to Cotto, trying to use that speed around the left end, evades a tackler and is brought down, but not before he gets past the 10-yard line. Great carry from the little guy, Joey Cotto. 5'6", 161-pounder. Senior leadership right there.
Definitely hit the hole. Saw it blocked well outside. Bounced it outside, but then had to cut back up inside and made the play. Got him in a second and short, 2nd and 3 right now.
Cotto and Johnson check out. So we'll see what formation comes out here. With under 20 seconds to go, we'll see if they even get the playoff here in this first quarter. Mitchell. Power to the right. With a receiver either side, the handoff is back there, met in the middle by some Eagles, close to the first down, but I think we're going to have a 3rd down play as time expires here in this opening quarter, a scoreless first quarter, as it will be a march to the other end of the field and 3rd down coming up for Mt Si. As we've gone the opening frame, scoreless. Who would have thought of that in this regional rivalry between the Issaquah Eagles, a 4A school, and the 3A school, the Mt Si Wildcats. Play On Sports is on Facebook and Twitter, giving you news and information and links to great highlights. Follow us at Play On Sports on both Facebook and Twitter. You can also access thousands of live and on-demand games on YouTube at youtube.com/playonnetwork. Keep up with all the high school action every week from your destination for high school sports, playonsports.com. So we get set for the second quarter, 12-minute quarters here in high school football in the state of Washington, and a big 3rd down coming up for Mt Si on their best drive of the contest thus far.
In that quarter, we had Riley Reed for Mt Si with about 51 yards rushing, and Nick Mitchell just 0 of 1 passing, just really hasn't thrown the ball very much. Dropped back a couple times, threw a couple passes, but one was called back. And you know, what we expected tonight was to see kind of a battle of physicality and stuff. I would have expected at least some points to come out of that first quarter, but these teams seem like they're kind of testing each other, kind of trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. Now you'll start to see some of the adjustments happening.
Mt Si, a team that was 7-4 last year. They've reached the state playoffs 4 years in a row and have been an early exit, have made an early exit in each of those 4 years, losing in the first round. They're looking for something better this year, and they have the firepower to do it. They step up a class with tonight's showdown. Here's the 3rd and 3 play, man in motion across as we have an offset eye in the backfield. Mitchell, option. He fakes the option and rather gives on the dive into the big pile in the middle. Goes the running back, and we'll see if he's close to the first down, and it looks like he's got it. And that'll bring up 1st and goal for Mt Si. So they come out of the end of quarter break with a little trickeration. It's just a straight on dive, but they fake the option on it.
Something you don't see a lot nowadays in high school or
the straight on
football.
dive right up the gut. Yeah.
You just don't see that very much anymore.
1st and goal from the 5-yard line. Closest anybody's been to getting on the board in this one. We're in the second quarter. Glad you could join us here on PlayOnSports.com. Friday Night Lights as Mt Si hosts the Issaquah Eagles.
I like Griffin McLean here at some point. He's a big target.
Riley Reed is the lone setback.
And as I said that, I just jinxed Griffin McLean. He just moved.
You know, we've talked about him quite a bit on the defensive side of things. Offensively, he is a wonderful tool for Mt Si, but again, they're going to have to back it up here. And perhaps if they're going to look his way, maybe this is an advantage as they back it up, get a little bit of room for the pattern.
That's probably why he did it, just to open up a little space for himself. No, but I mean, the thing about Griffin is he is such a good athlete. He's almost impossible to guard. You don't have a lot of guys his size that can do what he can do, so you have to either cover him with a safety, but he can outmuscle any cornerback who would be able to cover him. So it's real interesting to see how he gets guarded here.
So 1st and goal from the 10 now. Little quick 3-step drop, looking for the corner of the end zone. Touchdown, Mt Si. Trent Riley on the receiving end of that Mitchell pass. A 10-yard touchdown with 10:53 to go. And the faithful here at Wildcat Stadium happy to see their team on the board.
And that was a great pass. Threw it over the outside shoulder. Riley was able to get separation from the cornerback over there and make the easy grab.
And here's the try for point coming as Cameron Van Winkle will line it up.
Those houses better be careful back there. He's going to hit it.
He's got a leg. Trying to add the extra point. It's up, and it is good. And that one almost might go down the chimney on that house over there. So 7-0 your score with 10:53 to go in the first half of play. Mt Si able to take advantage of a big run by Riley Reed, a penalty, and then some workmanlike efforts in the middle, capped off by the touchdown to Reed.
And on that, Nick Mitchell was very smart. The way he dropped back a couple times, rolled out, decided to pull the ball down, make some runs with his legs. They got some carries from Cotto, and we're just able to. It was a very workmanlike effort from Mt Si in their offense.
So will the Eagles have what it takes to respond right away coming off of this kickoff that in essence they probably won't have much of a return, so you're already thinking about starting at your 20-yard line with the way Van Winkle kicks?
And in high school football, the second it goes into that end zone, they don't even have the option to down it. It's considered a dead ball.
It's a tremendous weapon to have.
Saw Cameron miss a 57-yarder last year by 1 yard at at Mercer Island on a late October evening, so it was kind of damp, and he's just got a huge leg.
Well, it's just in high school sports to have that leg is a huge weapon, and this one might go through the uprights. It's just shy of doing so. So the Eagles will come out and take over at their own 20, and is that a bit of a deflator when you know you don't have any chance on the return?
A little bit. Honestly, they just say to themselves, it's fine. He's not going to kick it to us. We'll just present all plays from the 20-yard line and go from there. It doesn't give you a chance to make any play, though, to really give your team a spark. I wouldn't say it was a downer, but it doesn't give you a chance to spark up the offense.
Well, and they are looking for that spark now, finding themselves down for the first time in this one. And, of course, Mt Si pitching the shutout last week. They've yet to allow any points this season.
5 quarters, no points.
Fumble. Gallatley, I think, jumped back on top of it, but that's not what the Eagles were hoping for coming out of that touchback.
And lucky to get out of that with the ball and only a 1 yard loss as well. So something that they definitely need to work on out there.
2nd and 11. 10:37 and counting down in the second quarter of play, and the Eagles will have to muster something a little bit better after that muffed handoff a moment ago.
Gallatley's not a guy who's going to make a lot of big plays out of things, but what he's going to do is keep hitting you, getting 3, 4, 5 yards, and then he'll bust off a 30 or 40-yarder on you.
Out of the shotgun this time. Chaz Peterson fakes the handoff on the end around, now rolling, looking for help. He goes to the man he faked the run to. That's Greewee. Greewee with an entourage gets out to the 35 before he's tripped up there.
Great open field tackle by Hunter Malberg. If he doesn't make that play, like you said, he did have an entourage of guys be able to block for him, but he wasn't able to get away from Malberg, so it ends up being a nice play, but it could have been a lot bigger.
And that was just a check down dump off after he had a man in his face once again.
And he did have number 9, Derek Chapman, running right down the middle of the field, but obviously he couldn't see the pass.
It's hard to see open receivers when you're running for your life back there. As Griffin McLean again terrorizing in the backfield. So Peterson now with a first down. With the handoff, Gallatley looking to maybe run a little trap play off that right side, and minimal gain there this time.
Yeah, only picked up a yard on that. Mt Si, I don't think they're going to get a lot of runs inside tonight. Very many yards inside. That Mt Si middle of the defense right there, they average about 290 pounds between the two guys inside. Outside, they've got some big guys as well, so it's going to be tough sledding out there for Gallatley. He needs to figure out other ways to get his yards.
When they can't go to him every time. They're definitely going to have to mix it up a little bit, but Mt Si, a tough defense, been holding their opponents scoreless thus far this season. Another good run up the middle, and maybe this is what Issaquah wants to be able to do, try and limit the number of possessions from that high-powered Mt Si offense. They'll forge ahead here for a gain of about 5, and it'll be 3rd and middle yardage to go.
And on that play, you saw they still are just unable to get anything going as far as opening up holes inside there.
Is the key to trying to open up some holes, getting a complete pass or two?
I think so. I really do. And I think one of the ways you can work with Galatly is to get him some delayed handoffs, maybe some draws, stuff like that, to keep that aggressive Mt Si defense at bay.
Well, let's see what they do here. No draw, but a completed pass near midfield. Up ahead to Derek Chapman, the junior receiver, 5'10", 170-pounder, gets the first down here on the nice grab.
And on that play, he got the inside on Tyler Button and was able to get the first down. But that was coverage that it's a little surprising that they played off like that because Peterson hasn't been able to get much in the way of time. So if you come up and press the guys, gives your defense a chance to get a play in the backfield.
Empty backfield. Oh, nope, check that. That's Galatly back there. Peterson under center. Little blitz on this time. Galatly trying to be the blitz defender. He stiff arms one man. He's into open territory. Slips out of another tackle near the left sideline. Still on his feet, down to the 22-yard line. Big run by Galatly.
And like I said, delayed handoffs, that's probably going to be the way you keep that pass rush at bay because they're going to now have to realize, hey, these guys are running delays on us, and we can't be as aggressive as we're trying to get to the quarterback.
Because you're taking the aggression of the defender, taking him where you want him, where he's already going, getting that momentum going, and then opening up the hole because he's already vacating that space. Great pickup for Galatly and the Eagles, who are trying to answer the touchdown a few moments ago by Mt Si. 7-0, 7:22 to go, second quarter. Eagles on the drive. Peterson with three receivers to the bottom. He hands to Galatly, but we'll do it over. It's as close as we get to a do-over out here, and that's the yellow hanky. We've got movement. And so the Eagles will put themselves back again, but of course, they stumbled a little bit at the beginning of this drive with the fumbled handoff from Galatly. They fortunately jumped back on it. Now they'll have to overcome another miscue here.
And if you're Charlie Canoon, you want your guys to at least hold strong here, keep it to within just kicking a field goal. You don't want to allow any touchdowns here. You've got to feel some confidence in your defense. These guys are a senior-laden defense. They should be able to buckle it up here and make a stop. But Issaquah has really impressed me with the way they've been able to drive the ball. I really thought Galatly, with being their main weapon, I thought they'd be able to stop him, but they haven't been able to do that.
Well, they go to him right here, and he is stuffed for a loss. Great penetration from the Wildcat defense again, as he is gathered up by 3 or 4 red shirts in that pile.
Quite a few players in there. Evan Johnson comes in to make the play from the left side, comes off, crashes down, and is able to get him around the legs, but he had about 4 other guys helping him as well.
Second down and about 16.
Now, if you're Issaquah right now, you do not need to get this whole thing back. It's second and 15. You want to get 7 to 10 yards right here. Give yourself a third and short kind of a play, something where you have a lot of different options.
And we have a little break in the action here as I believe Galatly has a little break in his helmet. They're trying to get his equipment situation figured out here. Not sure how much time they'll have for this, but of course the rule, if your helmet comes off, you've got to leave for a play. So Galatly will not be involved in this one. They'll go empty backfield this time. So with big yardage to gain, 2nd and 16. We'll see if the Wildcats will pin their ears back or send a modest number of rushers. They send a linebacker on the blitz. They get a completion underneath, but for minimal gain.
It was a good idea, but I don't think they expected number 57, Hank Van Loo, to get in there and make that play like that, because they did have one-on-one coverage out there. Van Loo just made a great open field tackle.
Craig Grewe on the reception for no gain, and it's big 3rd and 16 time. Check it. We'll make it a credit of 1 yard, but an incremental yard, I think, in the mix there. So big 3rd down here for the Eagles as Galatly now back onto the field. Peterson looking deep. He has time, and he's intercepted at the 10. Here come the Wildcats on the return. Running room. Evan Johnson could go the distance, but he doesn't. He's tackled at the 15, and a big turn of events for Mt Si.
75-yard interception return. Evan Johnson, we've called his name a lot tonight, drops back into coverage, intercepts the ball, perfect positioning, makes the play, and then takes it all the way back to the 15 of Issaquah, setting up Mt Si here.
So Mt Si, who was just a moment ago looking at the Eagles on the drive for the equalizer, are just 17 yards away from opening up a pretty big lead here in a ball game that the Eagles have to wonder what's kind of happening here. Some big plays in the mix for Mt Si.
Now, if you're Issaquah, what you're saying, and they just called timeout, the quick change, that's something that a lot of coaches coach to, is the quick change and how you react to that.
Yeah, and right now, probably not a bad call to take that timeout to calm the team down, to say, hey, we got a challenge here. Let's see what we can do to hold these guys down to maybe a field goal, or maybe even better, let's try to get the ball back. And let's keep ourselves in a 2-touchdown ball game where really a couple of plays and, we're back out in front. There's still a lot of ball game left to go. 5:01 left to play in this opening half. And right now, Mt Si trying to capitalize on what would have been the third miscue for the Eagles on that drive. The fumbled handoff, another penalty, which forced the third and long situation. And then a great interception by Johnson, who high-pointed that one, pulled that one down, and then had some nifty running to get down the field, evading some tacklers, but he ran out of steam there about the 17-yard line.
Yeah, it showed some great speed getting out there, and he had plenty of helpers blocking down the field. Good job by Peterson staying in it. It's a good sometimes at the high school level, it's really good that these quarterbacks play both ways because they actually have good tackling fundamentals and keeping players at bay.
PlayOnSports.com is not only your destination for Friday night football action, but it's also the place for the most comprehensive coverage of high school playoff and championship events in all sports from across the country. PlayOnSports.com, high school sports lives here. 1st and 10 from the 17. Mitchell rolling out deep to his right, has a man underneath, and this one's intercepted. The Eagles back the other way. Wow, what a turn of events, and what a huge timeout called just a moment ago as the momentum swings back the Eagles' way on the second consecutive interception on plays here in this ball game.
Yeah, I didn't see who made the pick, but that was an overthrow by Mitchell. He had a man open underneath, overthrew his man. We've seen him throw it high quite a few times tonight, and that one was one that really came back to hurt him.
I think it was Craig Grewe who made the pick on the other side. Grewe playing both ways as both a corner and as a wide receiver. And when you're a corner that plays wide receiver, you better come down with the ball.
Yeah, definitely. And Grewe, if it was indeed him who made the play, was right in the right position. He could have broke on the pass to stop it for a minimal gain, but was right there in perfect position. Mitchell overthrows it. He makes the pick and gets them actually out a little ways.
So the Eagles now looking to take advantage of the Mt Si Wildcats' first miscue. Delayed handoff to Glattley around the left side. Breaking tackles ahead for the first down.
Glattley just shows you why he's such a tough runner. Ran through one-arm tackle and was pushed out of bounds by the second guy. 12-yard gain.
And we talked about Issaquah getting started a little bit early and then kind of disappearing for the second quarter and not getting things going until late in their game against Interlake last week. Could that be a similar situation here?
It might be. This team might be a team that starts slow. You hope, as a fan of theirs and as their coaching staff, I'm sure they'd say, hey, guys, we'd like you to start a little earlier.
You might have to get the bus to the ballpark a little bit earlier in the day.
Yeah, but we're talking at 4.5 minutes left. They could drive this all the way down, tie it up before halftime, and that would be a huge step for them.
Out of the shotgun, Peterson looking to the far side. First down, I believe, or at least close to it on the reception. That was Derek Chapman again.
Chapman, a big wide receiver target. Another gain of 12 out there. This time a pass. And Chaz Peterson really looks like he's on. If I'm Mt Si, I'm bringing my corners up a little bit. They're not going to beat you deep too often. And you can really disrupt their passing game because they're just throwing short stuff right now.
Handoff in the middle. They call it 2nd and 1 and stuffed right in the middle. That's Tyler Sheehan, the senior fullback. No room at all.
And it looks like he actually lost a yard.
So that'll bring up 3rd and a long 2. And so the Eagles with the big plays here just a moment ago with the interception, the Galatly run, the reception, wanting to keep this drive alive with under 4 minutes to go in the first half, trailing 7-0.
So far, I'm going to jinx us again. We haven't seen a lot of flags tonight either, so that's something that's been really nice.
Galatly running out of the power double tight end formation, trying to find room around that left side, and he's tripped up shy of the first down marker. It'll bring up fourth down, and do you go for it here? I got to question that if that's their intent. They're in their own territory with 3:21 remaining, and it looks like they may go for it. What do I know?
I don't know. I think you play how your defense has played pretty well. Maybe they try and draw him off on this and then call timeout. We'll see what happens.
Chris Bennett, the head coach and offensive coordinator for Issaquah. Stacked receivers to the bottom of the screen and out of the eye. They fake the pass and he fumbles the ball. Not what the Eagles were looking for, and on fourth down, Peterson stuffed by a host of Wildcats and loses the handle on the ball, but that really doesn't factor into the mix. He was going to turn it over on downs anyway.
Bo Shane, Joey Cotto were both in there on the blitz, and number 57 recovered it. Hank Van Loo, he's been around the ball quite a bit as well. He and Evan Johnson are both having huge games for the Wildcats on defense.
Peterson could not hang on to it, and I'll tell you what, 3 red shirts coming at me, I may have a hard time hanging on to that. In fact, I'll guarantee I would probably fumble that ball at that spot. But a big fourth down play, and Mt Si trying to capitalize on yet another big play here in the second quarter. The run up ahead near first down territory. The carry once again by Riley Reed, the 5'11", 190-pounder. And the senior gets the Wildcats close to another first down.
Looks like about 7.5-7-yard gain for Reed. He's really done a good job of putting his head down and making plays.
2.5 minutes to go, and the Wildcats leading off of that 10-yard touchdown to Trent Riley from Mitchell, the quarterback here just a few minutes ago. Seeing if they might duplicate that feat here. They keep it on the ground. Reed again around left end. Breaks a tackle, could be looking at the end zone. He's out of bounds, just shy of the end zone, about the 1-yard line, first and goal.
Gets down to the 3-yard line. Great run. Breaks 2 tackles. Couldn't ask for anything more on that run from Reed, other than getting in.
Other than getting in, but with 2 minutes and change to go in this half, Mt Si looking to go up by a couple of touchdowns in this one over the Eagles, who were driving not too long ago. And then it stymied one missed opportunity by the Wildcats with the interception, but then fumbled on that fourth down play a little while ago. From the 2, they'll mark it. The handoff. Reed, touchdown, Mt Si. Riley Reed rumbles in. They figured, hey, he did most of the work. We should give it to him and let him finish the job. And he does. Good blocking by the line on the inside, and we're with under 2 minutes to go, 1:59 remaining. Cameron Van Winkle looking to try and make it a 14-point advantage.
And right there, that right there could be a killer for Issaquah. Issaquah really needs to come out, try and at least get 3 points out of this. Go into the halftime only down 14-3. They need to have something positive happen here before the end of the half. That was a tough break. They're on the road. Granted, it is 20 minutes away, but they're on the road. They've got a good crowd out here. They just need to settle down and make some plays when they get the chance.
So Van Winkle with the PAT good, making it a 14-0 lead. And right now, Mt Si, with all the momentum in this one, going to take it into the locker room at halftime unless the Eagles can mount a late challenge in this one.
Yeah, the Eagles aren't going to get anything on the kickoff return from this, so I think what you can expect to see them is come out here and try and run Galatly a little bit, see what they can generate, but definitely try and run some clock so they don't get hit with the possibility of Mt Si having the ball again.
Back deep for the Eagles, hoping for an opportunity. are Chris Egland and Keegan O'Keefe. Van Winkle taking his time. This is his expertise right here, and it's going to net him a college education. So they don't mind if he takes his time.
He's a great soccer player, too. So is the kicker on the other side. We just haven't seen him yet tonight.
Alex Shane.
Yeah, Alex Shane.
Van Winkle puts a big right leg into this one, and this one is through the uprights, I believe, and the fans in the stands putting their arms up. And there is no answer for that here in the high school level.
There really isn't.
Actually, any level, if you put it through the uprights
yeah.
on the kickoff.
Now, in college, when they kick it, it's a touchback. It's at the 25. That's kind of the new thing. But in high school, it's still at the 20.
And it remains to be seen how all of that will play itself out in the collegiate ranks and whether or not, because that's also a testing ground for the high school ranks oftentimes.
Yep. And, you know, in high school, they kick off a higher tee. There's definitely, the balls are different. They can use old balls, unlike in college and the pros where they use brand new ones. So it's a little bit different, but still a very talented player.
Gallatley with the carry off of a little misdirection, and he'll have a big carry, carrying guys past midfield and down near the 46-yard line. The Eagles will not go away.
And you see a couple Mt Si players complaining that they were held or blocked in the back, but great run by Jack Gallatley out there.
44 yards, or check that, 34 yards on the carry by Gallatley. He's over 100 yards, I believe, in this one.
Yeah, both he and Reed are both over.
Out of the shotgun here with 1:33 to go in the second quarter. Long pass, and it's in and out of the hands of Greewee, bearing down the defender for Mt Si. That was Tyler Button, and boy, that pass hung up there for a little while.
Yeah, and very risky pass by Peterson right there. He needs to really drive that ball. If you're going to throw that ball, it needs to be thrown on time before his man turns around.
Minute and a half to go, and the Eagles trying to answer, put a tally up on the board here, and try to end this scoreless streak that Mt Si has been throwing for 5+ quarters this year. Here's the pass into the middle, wide open receiver in the middle of the zone. Issaquah's Josh Smith running with this one, and he loses the handle. Check that, Derek Chapman on the reception and then loses the handle, and who's on top of the ball? Tyler Button.
Tyler Button, he's a guy who's always around the ball. Super quick. Somebody just batted that ball. I wish we had replay because I want to see what happened. It looked like somebody just batted out the ball and knocked it out of his hands.
Another turnover for Issaquah in this one. They've had 3 thus far in the second half.
And that was one of my keys, avoiding turnovers. You could not give Mt Si short fields, and they still have 1:21, and with Nick Mitchell's arm, they could definitely do something here.
Well, they had to overcome some turnovers last week, and they did against Interlake. But this a much better opponent in Mt Si, and one that will try to take advantage of the 1:21 remaining in this half. And we're going to have, it looks like, a timeout taken by Mt Si. As they have some timeouts to use, they might as well use them here and try to calm themselves down and figure out what they want to do. You get the stoppage of play with the first downs and out of bounds. So lots of time on this clock, as you had said.
Yeah, but Coach Canoon is not happy. He's not thrilled that he had to waste one of his timeouts that way. I understand what you're saying, but that is not something they want to do. They want to save those so they can have run-pass options when they get, if they were to get down inside the 20, 30-yard line.
Scoreboard showing no more timeouts remaining. I thought that they had at least one left, but officially they show none remaining. One remaining for Issaquah here in this second quarter of play. 14-0, Mt Si the lead and looking to drive and get on the board. They've done it through the air and they've done it on the ground.
Yes, they have. And one person that I see down there on the Mt Si sideline is Hugh Millen, who does some volunteer coaching for the quarterbacks. He former Husky quarterback, former professional quarterback. His son, they live actually out in this area. His son is in the youth program that they have out here. Cale Millen, that might be somebody you and I are announcing one of these days as the starting quarterback out here at Mt Si. But he does a lot of work with the quarterbacks. But Coach Canoon, you see here they come out and they come out with 3 wide. They've still got Griffin McLean in there, and they've got Riley Reed.
Mitchell going to hand it off. This is Reed, minimal gain. He hangs on to the ball, picks up about 2, and the clock will run.
And as you can see here, Canoon and his staff appear to be just happy to go in, 14 points up, make no mistakes, no fumbles. Maybe Well, actually, it looks like they're going to go full spread here. As I talk, I need to just keep quiet. Just let things develop.
Yeah, he'll tell you, 20 years here at Mt Si, and he knows what he's doing down there. And Mitchell's going to take off running, and he'll dive ahead past the 50-yard line. They don't have any timeouts left. He slides after gaining a huge chunk of yardage. The clock stops with 45.2 remaining. So when you've got the leg of Cameron Van Winkle, you only really have to get it about another first down and to give him a shot.
Yeah, 10 to 15 yards is what they're looking for here. And that's on the 10 yards is on the outside of his range. He can hit from 50 to 60, but it's not going to be very consistent.
5 receiver set. Mitchell going to take off running again, gets about 7 yards on this one, 29 seconds left. It'll bring up second down. They do have one more timeout to use. We thought that they did, and they'll choose to use it right here. With 27.4 remaining on the clock, it'll be second down from the 44-yard line. And again, to get into Cameron Van Winkle range. He had 3 field goals last week, 38 from 40 and from 36. And of course, that next one will tie him for the state record.
And Coach Canoon and his staff might be just playing. They might have been happy to totally go through that. Go into the half up 14-0 and not try and risk anything. But why not give Cameron Van Winkle a shot to possibly tie that record of Adam Fernie?
Fernie out of Burlington Edison now kicking for the Washington State University Cougars. Responsible for all 3 points in their game last week as they look to do better against Eastern Washington. As both these teams have been known to send a few folks out to the collegiate ranks. As we talk about Cameron Van Winkle, there's others being eyed by other universities throughout the nation.
Issaquah has sent quite a few players to the D2 and 1AA level. Mt Si's had a couple players go to the University of Washington. One was a running back from a couple years ago.
So here we go, 27.4 seconds to go in the quarter. Nick Mitchell dropping back, puts the big arm out there and overshoots the intended receiver, Trent Riley, down that right sideline. 3rd and 4 to go with 22.6 to go.
So now, so it's 3rd down. You still have the middle of the field to use because you do have enough time. If you get a first down, you can come up and spike it. Or even if you just throw it short, it doesn't get a first down, you can still have a chance to come up and spike it and possibly give Van Winkle a shot.
So the key here is at least getting the first down. And then what you do after that with 22.6 seconds remaining, we'll see.
We'd be talking about a 61, 62-yarder from here.
Trips to the bottom of your screen, roll out by Mitchell. Takes the sack and lost the handle of the football, but jumps back on top of it, and we're not going to see anything happen here after that loss.
And that just shows his inexperience. Has to get rid of that ball. Give yourself at least a shot to kick one, but now the clock's just going to run out.
Down to 9 seconds remaining in the quarter. Mt Si with no timeouts left. The Eagles content to leave theirs up on the board, it looks like, as down to 1 second now remaining, and that'll do it for the first half of play. Mt Si in charge of this one, as they have done a fantastic job of keeping their opponents at bay. They've played 6 quarters thus far this season, and they have not allowed any points to their opponents thus far.
And if you're Charlie Canoon and his staff, you have to be pretty happy with the way your team has performed. They haven't been perfect, but they've made plays when they had the chance. And also, as far as Issaquah is concerned, you just have to settle down. You have to say to yourself, the only reason we're down right now is because of 3 turnovers. We don't have those. We have a very good shot at being back in this game.
Well, that's the end of the first half of play, with the hometown Mt Si Wildcats leading the Eagles of Issaquah High School by a score of 14-0. We'll be back in a few moments with the PlayOnSports.com second half. Don't go anywhere. It's Friday Night Football on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sports. You're watching PlayOnSports.com's presentation of Friday Night Football live from Snoqualmie, Washington. Alex Webster along with Scott Eklund. The Wildcats of Mt Si leading the Issaquah Eagles by a score of 14-0 as we just about get set to start the second half of play. It's been all Mt Si thus far as they've been able to take advantage of Issaquah's miscues. And it hasn't been done through the air. It's been done on the ground as both the leading rushers for both Issaquah and Mt Si approaching or at the century mark on the ground.
Yeah, Jack Gallatley for Issaquah has 100 yards rushing, got 76 of those yards on that last drive where we thought they were going to make some plays and be able to get at least some points out of it before they had a fumble. And then Riley Reed for Mt Si has 99 yards on 8 carries, including a 38-yarder and a 28-yarder, and then has a 3-yard touchdown to go with it.
Well, really the story here thus far in this season has got to be the Mt Si the Mt Si defense, as they have managed to shut out their opponents, the Kennedy Lancers, last week in a 30-0 win, and so far the Issaquah Eagles held scoreless on the board here through 2 quarters here.
Yeah, they've really done a great job of harassing Chaz Peterson, and while Jack Gallatley has gotten out and gotten some runs, they've kept him from really breaking out most of the time. More often than not, he's held to 4 or 5 yard gains.
Well, we had a scoreless first quarter here as both teams were kind of testing the waters a little bit, but then Mt Si was able to take advantage of the Issaquah Eagles' miscues and put a couple of touchdowns on the board. The first score came with 2:53 to go in that second quarter when Trent Riley was on the other end of a Nick Mitchell 10-yard touchdown pass in the right corner of the end zone. Cameron Van Winkle extra point made it 7-0, and then late in the second quarter, it was Riley Reed who did some heavy running to get the ball down inside the 5-yard line and then finally punched it in a play later from 2 to 3 yards out.
Yeah, and one thing that we saw there in that first half was the quick change because Evan Johnson makes an interception for Mt Si, returns it 75 yards back down to the 17-yard line of Issaquah. But on the very next play, Nick Mitchell has a chance to throw a pass, throws it a little too high, intercepted, thwarting a chance, but then right back, as Issaquah comes back down, they fumble, and then Mt Si was able to go in for the score.
Really a case of some of the turnovers making a big difference in this one so far, as Issaquah has been held in check because of those turnovers. They've had some drives.
Yeah, they have. They really have had some drives, and Gallatley is a guy that Mt Si has really keyed on quite a bit, but he hasn't really been held in check from the standpoint that he hasn't been able to get his yards. I mean, you've got 100 yards on about 13 carries, but what they have been able to do is limit him to big plays when it really didn't matter.
Yeah. And Mt Si here, a team that is picked by the coaches to finish behind Bellevue in the 3A, 2A KingCo conference. They in fact got one first place vote for first place in the conference at the 3A, 2A level. And of course, the date circled on the calendar is October 12th when the Bellevue Wolverines will come to town. And the last score we had update, Bellevue was stepping up a notch to take on the Bothell Cougars, and then the Wolverines were leading 35-0 at the half.
Yeah, and Bothell is a quality football team. So that just tells you how good Bellevue is.
So
this is our first time to talk about Alex Shane, who also has a big leg out here as well.
And Alex Shane, as well as Cameron Van Winkle, were taking lots of long kicks in warm-ups here for the second half. But it's not about the long kickoff. It's about the return out to the 20-yard line as Mt Si's Trent Riley able to take it near his own goal line and manage it up to the 20.
And on that play, if the Issaquah defender, and I didn't get the number, but if the Issaquah defender wasn't able to get him, he could have been gone.
Of course, the Issaquah Eagles playing at the 4A level. They're ranked 6th in state. Mt Si ranked 3rd at the 3A level in the state of Washington. Those rankings courtesy of the Seattle Times. And Mt Si trying to pick up where they left off in the second quarter of play as they picked up all their points in the second quarter. Some quick running in between the tackles as a new man in there. That's Joey Cotto. We talked a lot about the damage being done by Riley. But Joey Cotto with a couple of good runs in the first half also gets a good one here in a first down.
Yeah, he and Riley make a nice little combination. Cotto is more of the quick guy who's the lightning, whereas Riley Reed is going to be your thunder.
3 receivers in the set as we get 2 to the top of your screen, and it looks like Cotto remains in there. As Nick Mitchell looking for a receiver in stride at the 50, complete and down into Eagles territory, close to the 30-yard line. What a catch on what a throw by Nick Mitchell. Tyler Button on the other end of that one.
34-yard line, hits a nice pass out there to Button, and who got behind the safety, behind the cornerback. It was too deep, cover 2, and he just found the soft part of the zone and was able to get down for a long gainer. And
that was a strong pass, and he hit him right in stride. 1st and 10, marked at the 33-yard line. We'll see if Peterson, or rather Mitchell, goes to the air. The handoff is to Cotto again, and he'll pick up a few yards as he approaches the 30-yard line. Just underway in the 3rd quarter of play. Mt Si looking to add to their 14-0 advantage here on the opening drive of this 3rd quarter.
And as you can see, they're starting to test the edges of that defense right now. Made some adjustments, went in, saw some things, and made some adjustments, and now you have Reed in there with Evan Johnson as the lead fullback. And Johnson gets a carry.
Yep, right up the gut goes Johnson. He'll pick up a few more yards. It's going to bring up 3rd and short. I hesitate to say short because anything that's going to be about 3 yards out or more is still a good chunk of yardage. And we've got a whistle on the field as one of the linemen slow to get up. And hobbling to the near sideline,
Stephen Nanoob.
Stephen Naboo, 6'1", 253-pounder. And he'll get replaced here as they'll get a look at him on the sidelines, and hopefully nothing serious, and he'll be back out there shortly. Under 10 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. 3rd and 5 now coming up.
On that pass to Button, you could see the strength of that arm. He put a nice tight spiral on it, put it right in between the defenders. Got a strong arm, but it has a lot of touch as well.
Bailey Takis, the running back here, but it's Mitchell on the keeper, and he gains very little on this one, and it's going to bring up 4th and short. And might they bring in Van Winkle to try the field goal?
And as you hear everybody, they're chanting for it. And this looks like it'll be about a 42-yarder.
That's where they'll spot it, and Cameron Van Winkle, 5'10", 170-pound senior, kicking this one to put Mt Si up 17-0, but also kicking it for the record books. This one's up, wobbly kick, and it's going to be a little bit short. I think someone got a hand on it, and the official indicating as such too. Deflected, and so the Eagles will have it, dodging a little bit of a bullet here on the opening drive by the Wildcats.
Yeah, because that's well within Cameron Van Winkle's range, so I think somebody did get their hand on it. Good job by Issaquah preventing the record from being done, but also preventing Mt Si from extending the lead. They're still within 2 scores now.
Yeah, and it's anybody's contest. The way we've seen the ball turned over in this one, all it takes is a couple of big plays. 1 big play and you're right back in it. 2 big plays and maybe a 2-point conversion, you're in the lead. So a long way to go in this one with 9:04 to go in the 3rd. So Issaquah with their first opportunity here in the 2nd half, and they set up a little screen on the left side, and good running room after the catch for a pickup. John Hunt make that. Derek Chapman again. Chapman had a nice catch right before the half, but lost the handle on it, so good to see him sure-handed here as they gather in 6 yards on the catch and run.
Very good play right there to get him started. Good way to start that drive. Getting easy completion.
Chaz Peterson had a rocky first half. Looking for better treading here in the 2nd half. The hand goes to Gallatley, who rumbles ahead for a couple. And he'll bring up 3rd and short now. Some safe plays here for Issaquah. to start this third quarter.
And here, if you're Mt Si, you definitely want to be able to get off the field, give your offense a shorter distance to go, and really put your foot on the neck, as they like to say, of the Issaquah Eagles.
3rd and 2, and Peterson thought he had an opening up the middle. He lunged ahead. He's going to be close, but I don't think he got it.
It's looking like they might give it to him. It's right on it if they did get it.
And they do. No measurement here. So our line of sight fooling me just a little bit, but the official's right on the play, and a big first down there. It looked like they didn't have that center spot covered, and he was able to just slide to the right of the center and pick up the first down and keep the Wildcat offense on the sideline.
And on plays like that, the quarterback has the option of just tapping the center and going.
Little misdirection on the handoff to Gallatley as they had 2 running backs going the opposite direction. Gallatley veering over to the right side, but he's met by a host of red shirts once again. A little loss on the play here of about a yard. So 2nd down and 11. A very feisty and noisy crowd here in the stand. Says the student section just off to our right from our broadcast position. They're having a lot of fun tonight as the home team leading in this one. Out of the shotgun, Chaz Peterson. The senior quarterback looking for his receiver. Wobbly pass, tipped and incomplete. Great coverage that time by the Wildcats defensive player, Jimbo Davis, busting up that play.
Davis shows great ball skills on that because Norton did have a chance to make that play. Now, when the ball went up in the air, Norton, if he had actually tried to look around, he actually might have had a chance to get that reception because the ball bounced right above his head.
And the tip drill enforced there, but neither team able to come up with it. And 3rd and 11. The down now for the Eagles. Single setback with 4 receivers. 2 to either side as Peterson stutter steps and it'll be dropped for the loss. And a punting situation now coming up for the Eagles.
And on that play, coming off the right side was Jonathan Proctor, 6'2", 175 defensive lineman, junior. Got around the right tackle and was able to get a hold of Peterson, who held the ball. As a quarterback, you have to have a clock in your head to tell you, I need to get rid of this ball, but he didn't feel that.
Jack Gallatley, the punter, the do-all-everything. This one a wobbly bouncer that gets over the head of the return man, who should just let it go, and he wisely does, as Button allows the defense to get down there, the coverage team to get down there and mark that one down at the 20-yard line where that one comes to a stop. So not a great kick, but it looks good in the stat box.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. It wasn't pretty, but that was about a 60-yard kick right there. So definitely effective regardless of whether it was pretty or not.
Yeah, and you know, I think I heard a little bit of a pause from the crowd as Button started to run back for that one, but the last thing you want to do is get anywhere near that thing. There's no opportunity for return, and he wisely backed off on that one here. So Mt Si gets their second drive of the second half here with 5:47 remaining, owning that 14-0 advantage. And the work out of the I formation here. Mitchell, the handoff. And this one is Cotto again, weaving his way through traffic, and it might be coming back as a hanky flies at about the 21-yard line. And the Eagles pointing that this one might be coming back.
Yeah, and he just showed a hold. It was a hold on the right-hand side. I didn't see who got it, but somebody was holding on to an Issaquah player.
So a good little run negated for Joey Cotto. And it'll bring up 1st and long as they'll change up the package a little bit here, will Mt Si. They've got a great thing going here. Head coach and Charlie Canoon, who's been here 20 years, and he's everything you want in a high school football coach. We talked to him a little bit before the contest. He's been here a long time, although an Issaquah grad, so interesting thought patterns. I'm sure he hasn't thought one iota about playing against his alma mater today.
He might have actually been one of the reasons that they decided to play this game, because it is an out-of-conference game.
You're right, and what a great rivalry to have here, despite different conference slatings, different classifications, but just 20 minutes apart here in the region. They try it with Cotto again on the left side despite being back for 1st and 20, and he picks up a chunk of yardage, but not that much actually as he extends the play. The defense for the Eagles really forcing that one to the outside.
Great job by Connor Veach, who came up off of the right linebacker spot and was able to make that play in the open field.
A gain of 3, they'll call it, 2nd and 17. 4:53 and counting down, 3rd quarter. And for every possession that the Wildcats have, I mean, this is actually, they're back on their 13-yard line right now. This is kind of dangerous territory if you start thinking from a negative sequence, and of course they're not thinking that right now, but hence maybe the reason they're keeping it on the ground. And we've got a little bit of a whistle here as we will have a timeout for Mt Si. They want to talk things over a little bit. Didn't quite have the set that they wanted at this point, and so they'll talk it over a little bit. Play On Sports is on Facebook and Twitter, giving you news and information and links to great highlights. Follow us at Play On Sports on both Facebook and Twitter. You can also access thousands of live and on-demand games on YouTube at youtube.com/PlayOnNetwork. Keep up with all the high school action every week from your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. So the timeout, the first one taken by Mt Si here in this half. They used all of them in that first half. So they're not afraid to use them if they see a situation they don't like. They've got a big 2nd and 17 coming up from back on their 13-yard line. As you mentioned earlier, this is not necessarily about getting all 17 at one try. It's seeing if you can get 8 here and maybe 9 on the next one.
And you might just want to get 5. Give yourself a little bit of room to play with here, and also make sure that you hang on to the ball and you keep the ball in your own hands, and so that you can get a punt. You want to definitely have ball security down here.
So here they come. They'll have 3 receivers to the top of the screen, the wide side of the field. Mitchell on the run, fires a bullet, and Button has it at the 30-yard line, near a first down. I think he just got it, and he did.
Oh, he did. That was a great look by Nick Mitchell, and there you see his talent. As long as he isn't erratic, he is a kid who could easily be one of the top quarterbacks in the region next year. He has the height, he has the football smarts, he has the arm, he's got everything you want. He just needs to be more fundamentally sound. And right there you saw it. He got his shoulders squared. He drove the ball, and Button was able to get the first down. Nice 12, 13-yard completion. And
Tyler Button shaking up a little bit on the far side of the field. He goes off on the Issaquah side. I'm not sure if he got hit hard or if that laser beam pass hit him right on the numbers. It looked like it dragged him a whole yard as he was leaping for that one. But he appears to be okay as he walks off under his own power and will come to the near side. He has to step out, but he's slapping 5s with the guys on the offensive huddle as he comes over, and he'll get a round of applause from the fans here, the hometown fans here at Mt Si.
Yeah, he isn't a big player. He only goes about 5'6", 160, 170 pounds, but he plays big. He plays a lot bigger than you think he is.
Joey Cotto will be the single setback here as a big first down converted there on 2nd and 17. It's out at the 31-yard line now. Nick Mitchell under center this time. The handoff goes to Cotto, trying to weave his way through traffic, but a good defensive stop there for the Eagles. One of the guys in there for the tackle, Eric Rao, a guy that we have not talked about a great deal here, but he was all KingCo last season.
Yeah, and Tyler Sheehan also came up and made the play. It's kind of an inside-out kind of a tackle, and both very good swarming tackle on that.
Rao, a senior 6'2", 200-pounder at linebacker there with the stop. No gain, they call it, although I think they picked up about a foot. Trips to the right, and again, Cotto remains in there at the back. Mitchell, big arm, overshoots the receiver right side. He was looking for his friend down there, Trent Riley. They've connected before, but not this time.
Yeah, and Riley had his man beat. Once again, Mitchell, you want him to put more arc under that so he can give his guy more chance to throw it. And that's something that just comes with experience and coaching. Just something that, hey, your guy is open, give him the chance to make the play. Don't throw it on a line as much.
Mitchell, just a junior, so he'll be pulling the trigger again here next year for the Wildcats.
Brother just signed with Oregon State. He's going to be playing defensive tackle for the Beavers next year. Or he's playing there this year. He's redshirting now.
Good athletic genetics in the family.
Yes.
4 receivers in this. Trips to the top of your screen. Cotto remains in there. We haven't seen Riley in a while, Riley Reed. Here's Mitchell again, gunning this one, deflected, almost intercepted. I'll tell you who had a beat on that one and wishes he had his momentum going the other way. That was Tommy Nelson, the safety, a junior 6-footer out of a 175-pounder that, gosh, if he could have just switched his momentum, that one could have been in his hands.
Yeah, and that was Cody Lamarck who actually made the play to tip the ball, came underneath because that wide receiver was wide open otherwise.
So a punting situation here, and Cameron Van Winkle will put his right foot into this one. This one the best punt of the night thus far. Fair catch called for, and on the receiving end of that for the Issaquah Eagle, that's Keegan O'Keefe, the sophomore wide receiver and cornerback, and we've got a penalty flag or two down on the field. I don't know if they impeded his progress or whether there was a hold on the play. They'll talk it over down there. And the official, Jeff Matson, the referee in this one. Personal foul against Issaquah. Not the way they wanted to receive the ball. They'll back it up 15 here. Not sure what happened. It was extracurricular after the play, though.
Yeah, one of the up men was being kind of harassed by one of the Issaquah guys, and apparently they saw the Issaquah guy make the second, because I think they were both kind of shoving and pushing each other. But
well, that backs it up to the 26-yard line. That was going to be pretty good field position for Issaquah on a night when you're struggling to get points on the board. That does not help.
And as much as Mt Si has kind of dominated this game, this is still a 2-score game. Issaquah definitely has a shot to get back. They just need to make the play. They've had the ball down in Mt Si area, but they've thrown a pick and they've had a fumble deep in Mt Si territory.
And we wrote back to your keys to the game, and that is limiting the turnovers, something that the Eagles were able to overcome last week against the Saints of Interlake.
I'd love to claim that I was breaking new ground, but pretty much every coach would tell you we need to avoid turnovers. But for Issaquah, because Mt Si's offense is so explosive and so good, you needed to give them fewer possessions.
An official stoppage while they, I think, finally get the ball positioned where it should be after the penalty, and it is marked at the 22. Always difficult, I think, on those penalties on the change of possession because you've got the sticks in the other place. Where did it go? You got to get that down there, but of course they have a good system for that, and you want it to be right. Even if it takes a little bit of extra time to get it right, you want it to be right. And they've got it 1st and 10 at the 22-yard line here. Now they're just getting the chains moved on the far side of the field, and we'll get right back to action here with the Eagles trying to get on the scoreboard. Mt Si, their defense, you got to give them all the credit in the world. They've gone 6 quarters this season, have not allowed a point. Jack Gallatley on the run here, over 100 yards in this one. He's been the best weapon for the Eagles thus far. And at this point, you know he has the capability to break one. You just kind of keep feeding the Jack Gallatley.
Yeah, and Gallatley is a guy who can be a workhorse for you because he's about 200 pounds and has the ability to move the chains and lower his shoulder. But that Mt Si defensive line is so big and so stout, and the Issaquah offensive line is getting no push. That's why he hasn't really been able to get on track.
He got 7 on this one. Wildcats showing blitz. They give to the up man through. I want to say that is Tyler Sheehan.
Yep.
And it is the up man, the fullback, when he's in there in that I formation. He's had a couple of carries tonight, picked up some decent yardage. He does get the first down here, which is the critical thing.
Yeah, and once again, okay, now we can build off something. We got a first down. We're almost back to where the ball should have been originally when we got the ball. But
it's true.
But not just that. It's just we need to build some momentum, get things going, get things clicking. You need to take the pressure off of Peterson, who really hasn't had that good of a game.
Well, and right now, Issaquah able to get some points on the board. They swing momentum to their side, even though they'd still be down. Peterson looking for his receiver, finds him near the 40-yard line for the catch. Will gain about 7 or so on the reception. No room for running afterwards. Trying to get an identification on the receiver. I think it was Derek Chapman on that side.
Yeah, I believe it was.
He's been working that left side offensively. 5'10 junior, 170-pounder. Listed as a wide receiver and a cornerback. 4 receivers in the set this time, and they look for Norton, and just didn't get out of his break on time. Little missed timing between Peterson and the intended receiver, Kenny Norton III.
And on that play, you want to see Norton snap his head back. As a former wide receiver, even though I don't look like it right now, Alex, I used to play wide receiver. And on that play, you want to go 5 yards and snap your head around so you can get it around for your quarterback. Peterson threw it on line, but Norton just didn't get his head around and make the play.
Big 3rd and 3 coming up here as the Eagles already with 1 first down on this drive, looking for another here. Split backs, the receiver in motion, that's Craig Grewe. Trouble for Peterson as he rolls out. Can he get rid of it? He does, and it's in and out of the hands of the intended receiver. Would have been a first down, but unfortunately Connor Veach, the tight end, could not hang on to it. He had room to rumble as well.
It wasn't just that. He was so wide open, I think he didn't understand that all he had to do was hang on to the ball and then just turn around. He had plenty of time. Unfortunately, that's just a situation where a guy wants to make a play and just doesn't concentrate on making the catch.
So 4th down, and Gallatley will drop back to punt once again. The last time he punted, he had a line drive punt that bounded over the return man. And Issaquah with a different return man out there after Button went to the sideline. And this time it will roll out of bounds at the 34-yard line. So not a tremendous punt this time, but enough to get the job done.
And this is a situation where if you're Mt Si, you have the chance to really put this game away. Minute 20, what? Is that a minute 25, minute 26 left? And they really have a chance to salt this thing away if they can go down, get a score. I don't see Issaquah being able to come back from that. Still only 2.2 scores up, though.
Trent Riley was the deep man there as Tyler Button, who had been the deep man before, still on the sideline, has not returned since having an injury on a first down completion on the last drive for Mt Si, but we hope to see him back soon. Handoff in the middle. I believe that's Cotto. We haven't seen much of Riley Reed in the second half, if at all. And Reed responsible for one of the touchdowns in the first half. And again, yes, it is Cotto on the carry this time, and it makes you wonder if Reed is okay.
Cotto is their lightning guy, and he was able to lower his shoulder and actually get an extra yard or 2 on that one.
Gain of 4 as we're under a minute to go in the 3rd quarter. 2nd down and 6 for Mt Si. Mitchell handing it off to Cotto again, this time testing the right side of the line. He'll get a couple. 3rd and short coming up.
And on that, Matt Solisad made the tackle in the open field, holding them to only a 1-yard gain. So big play right here for the Issaquah defense, and actually a big play for the Mt Si offense. And I bet you they let this go down to the end of the 3rd quarter.
16 seconds left on the clock here in the 3rd. Just like the opening quarter of the first half, the opening quarter of the second half appears to hold nothing but goose eggs as Mt Si set to come to the sideline, holding the 4 fingers up on their hand as time expires here in the 3rd. We're going to the 4th quarter, and yet another quarter racked up by the Mt Si defense of another goose egg. They've gone now 7 scoreless quarters to start this season. And
now if you're Issaquah, what you need to do is you need to take some chances. You're going to need to take some chances defensively, load the box so they can't run out the score, or run out the clock. But also, if you're Issaquah, you're going to need to make some plays on offense, and that means throwing the ball down the field.
Do you want to watch more of your school's great matchups, like the game you're enjoying here tonight? Tell your school to sign up for the Play On Sports School Broadcast Program. This program allows schools to broadcast all their games and other activities on the web. I think I've seen proms. I think I've seen graduation online. It's a fantastic program. For more information, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
And you're starting to see, I would wager that earlier, not even 10 years ago, you didn't see any high school football games on. And now you're seeing them all over the TV, but also on the internet. People are broadcasting them all over the place, and Play On Sports has done a great job with that.
Well, we've talked a lot about how Mt Si had a huge win over then 9th-ranked Kennedy last week. This would be another huge win over an opponent from the 4A classification team ranked 6th in the 4A classification. Mount Si just 12 minutes away from going 2-0 here in the 2012 campaign. First play of the fourth quarter is a handoff off of right tackle for 4 yards, and they only needed 3. So the big third down carry here for Mount Si. I believe it was Hunter Malberg on the carry. Check that, Evan Johnson getting the first down. And Cotto back in at running back here. And you got to wonder a little bit. Riley Reed, the running back, might be on the sideline here a little bit. Here's a long pass, and it is in and out of the hands of the receiver on the left side. Mitchell putting some air underneath that one, but some good coverage as the intended receiver, Trent Riley, had his hand on it. He comes up with a little bit of a limp.
Yeah, and as we were talking about it, Reed is trying to stretch out. It looks like stretch out a hamstring, or he's got something with an ankle, something going on over there. Not even in the game at this point, and he was one of their best players in the first half. I would wager he was their best player on offense.
Well, Riley Reed, who had some of the big carries, including one of the touchdowns in the first half, on the sideline thus far, but Joey Cotto hasn't been a slouch either. He's had some good runs in there. And he's in there as the I-back. He has Evan Johnson in front of him in there in the backfield. Mitchell, the give to Cotto. Reverses his field a little bit. A helmet comes off, but a good gainer for Cotto. And as we've said here, when your helmet comes off in high school football, you've got to come out for a play. And for Issaquah, that means Mt Si Wildcats, the senior defensive lineman, has to come out for a moment.
And on that play, the play was designed to go to the left side. Cotto saw the hole open off to the right side, instead broke it back, and that's why he was able to gain 5-6 yards.
6 yards is what it'll officially be. Third down and 4 to go, just into Eagle territory. Just over 11 minutes to go in the ball game. Mount Si, the 14-0 advantage, trying to add to it here. Cotto trying to bust through a couple of tacklers, cannot, as they sniffed out the pitch very nicely on that right part of the defensive line.
And now we'll see Cameron Van Winkle come in, see if he can put this ball inside the 20-yard line, make Issaquah go over 80 yards.
And as we talked about, it is just a 2-possession ball game. Only one big play here, and it really sets things up. But for the Eagles, they really need to get something going offensively and put some points on the board. High punt that bounces, and Mount Si touching it early, and then it bounces a little bit more. But the Eagles really need to get away from it. And I don't know if any official was on top of it, but a lot of white shirts were hanging around that ball and really shouldn't have been anywhere near it.
Looked like it was hit by Mount Si, though, at the 19, just inside the 20-yard line. So,
and once it's touched, it could be advanced, but they can't recover it at that point. But it ends up being a nice punt, nonetheless, for Connor Van Winkle, as it will drop just inside the 20. They talk about how many of them are inside the 20, right? When you tally up the stats, and this one couldn't be much closer to being just outside the 20.
Yeah, and really, Cameron Van Winkle is as strong of a leg as he is, and as good of a specialist as he is. Punting is not his forte. It's definitely his secondary quality. His quality is place kicking and driving the ball on kickoffs.
Well, the Eagles will look for their quality players. Jack Gallatley back there to try and lead them back in this one, but Gallatley quiet a bit here in the second half. Peterson, a little play fake, looking deep up the sideline, has a man, he caught it. Did he hang on to it, and was he in bounds? He was out of bounds, but what a catch and a hit absorbed by Ken Norton III.
And that was Hunter Malberg coming from center field, really blasting him. Great catch by Norton. It was just too bad that he was out of bounds.
And Norton will remain down. He comes in from out of bounds and lies down there on the field, and hopefully he is okay on that sideline. A huge hit, but gosh, he held on to that ball.
Yeah, I don't know
after
how
that
he
hit.
on that.
I don't care if that's inbounds or out of bounds. That's a heck of an effort.
Yeah, and actually a very good throw by Chaz Peterson. Put it right where he had to on the outside.
But it goes into the book as an incompletion, and Norton, thankfully, up and onto the sideline. And hopefully we'll be back in the ball game shortly. Second down and 10, but the Eagles putting it in the air. They've got a couple of scores to make up and just about 10 minutes to do it. Not impossible, but they need to get something out of this drive.
One of Gallatley's best runs of the night came on a delayed handoff. Mt Si thinks these guys are going to throw the ball every time. So that might be a situation where you can get a draw play, get him into the open field and see what he can make happen.
Reed Peterson, the slot on the near side. We got a fumble back there on a missed snap and an ill-advised pass try that falls, fortunately for the Eagles, incomplete because that was thrown right near a bunch of red shirts.
That was just, it looked like the ball was snapped before he was ready to get it, and then he just made the mistake. Honestly, you need to throw that out of bounds. He was outside of the pocket, so he should have just thrown that out of bounds. He's lucky that it didn't end up being a turnover.
Both on the snap and on a potential interception on that one. 3rd and 10. They do at least avoid the sack and have a manageable 3rd and 10 situation. 2 receivers to either side. Peterson intercepted at the 30. Mt Si has it inside the 15-yard line. Another turnover for the Eagles, and the Mt Si defense coming up aces once again. This time, Bailey Takis with the pick.
Yeah, great positioning. Peterson just overthrows his target, and he was just right in the right position to make the play.
So Mt Si will have it at the Eagle 15-yard line and can really put the final nail in the coffin here with a big touchdown. Short drive potentially here, but even a field goal from this spot makes it a 3-score game and makes it a bit more overwhelming.
So that's where the coaching comes in with Nick Mitchell. Hey, take care of the ball, make sure we get this. They might just run the ball 3 times or not.
Nope, they're going to roll out to the right side. A little bit of trouble, gets away from one defender, still on his feet, loses his hat, and will be down. And it's going to be a flag on the play as they'll call, I believe, a face masking situation here as the helmet came off.
And that's a situation where he doesn't have to come out because it was a penalty.
But on the play, as anytime you see a helmet come off, you hope that everybody's okay, and in this case he is. He will get to stay on the field as the officials talk about this one, but it's already at the 15-yard line or thereabouts, so half the distance likely coming up, and a replay of first down. This would present a 1st and goal situation if indeed it is what we're talking about. Personal foul, it is the face mask against the Eagles. So exactly what we were talking about. The referee, Jeff Matson. Umpire in this one, Steve Hauser. Linesman, Dean Schull. Line judge, Matt Brown. And back judge, Matt Englund. And it will be 1st and goal. Inside the 7-yard line, I believe. Make that the 8-yard line. And Mt Si, again, looking for another touchdown. They've had one on the ground and one through the air. Trent Riley connected with Nick Mitchell on a 10-yard score back in the 2nd quarter. They elect to keep it on the ground. This time Joey Cotto gobbled up as he'll lose some yardage on this one.
Great job of penetration there by Eric Rao. You know, you could say they're down right now, but they're definitely not out of this. They are playing really well up front for Issaquah. They are getting after it up front. There's no quitting these Eagles.
And this is a situation where we've talked about Riley Reed has been on the sideline in this 2nd half, and Joey Cotto having to carry the load. Used to splitting some time and being perhaps that change of pace back, but he's having to carry the load back there right now.
Yeah, and he's not quite as dynamic as you'd think for a small guy like him. He's more of a north-south runner, but he just doesn't have a lot of quote-unquote lead in that pencil.
Play fake to Mitchell. Got it for a touchdown. Griffin McLean, the tight end we've talked about, he finally gets his mitts on one.
Yep. I called it. I said that he's a big target in the red zone, and he's actually just showed it right there. Great throw by Mitchell in between defenders, and he makes a great play for the catch.
20-0 the score, and Cameron Van Winkle on to try the extra point. It's up, and it is good. 21-0, the advantage for the hometown Mt Si Wildcats, ranked 3rd in the state. And, man, you just circle that date on the calendar. October 12th, Mt Si, Bellevue, the top two teams in KingCo 3A, 2A. Who knows? They might be the top two teams when they face off on October 12th.
Yeah, they definitely could be. They both could be undefeated. Mt Si looks really strong on both sides of the ball. If not for a couple turnovers, they might, or for that one turnover, they might have been up 28-0 right about now. They forced some turnovers. They've forced Issaquah into 4th and longs, 3rd and longs. Haven't given them very much room to breathe. And you see the results on the scoreboard right now. 21-0, 8:43 left. And this defense, you know, I think a lot of people thought the offense was going to be great coming in, and I think it's been solid. I've been very surprised at how strong this defense is.
Well, we talk about the scoring defense. 7 quarters now plus scoreless on the season for the Mt Si defense. And they held Kennedy last week to just 149 yards of total offense, only 3 yards passing last week. That was a team that was ranked 9th in the state to start the season.
Yeah, I mean, they've done it against 2 quality opponents to start the season. So you have to look at them and say, this team could be for real.
Van Winkle with the big right-footed boot into the end zone and through the end zone for the touchback. And so it'll come out to the 20 where the Eagles will start. And, of course, we have the luxury of looking ahead. The coaches don't. We talk about that matchup on October 12th, but the one that has to be squarely right in front of Mt Si is next week's conference opener as they host Juanita.
Yeah, Juanita actually played very well last week. We haven't gotten an update on how their game tonight is going, but Juanita's a strong team too. They've got some athletes up there that are getting recruited by D1 schools and getting some looks. So Sean Tarantola's got that thing rolling as well.
Here's the bubble screen in and out of the hands of the receiver. Do we get a whistle? Yes, it is an incomplete pass. You never know down there on those bubble screens what they might set up, but this one in and out of the hands receiver for the Issaquah Eagles. It'll bring up 2nd and 10. The Eagles 1-0 after they defeated Interlake last week. They will take on O'Day at West Seattle Stadium next Friday.
Not an easy matchup in that one either. O'Day, Mt Si, Bellevue, those are kind of the class of 3A right now, and I don't see anybody knocking those guys off until they face each other.
Eagles got to pass now if they're going to make any hay on that scoreboard, and they look Peterson to a receiver near first down yardage out at the 28-yard line on the other side of the field, and that for the Eagles is Tyler Sheehan.
And Bailey Takas, or I don't know. I'm sorry, I should have known how to pronounce the last name. He definitely drove on that ball and still made the play so that they're in still 3rd and short. So they can even hold this one right here.
3rd and 2, got to get it. The give to Galatly, breaks through tackles, rumbles ahead for the first down. And that one a critical play for the Eagles.
Yeah, definitely. And you see a lot of subs coming in for Mt Si right now that are playing. Still, the secondary actually looks like they're all still the starters, but got a lot of younger guys in there right now.
Well, for Mt Si, an opportunity to continue to test themselves here in the early part of the season as they do have to gear up. We mentioned their chief rival this season in their conference is going to be Bellevue, and Bellevue was up 35-0 at the half on Bothell here at our last report. Another completion on the far sideline. This one close to another first down for the Eagles.
Mt Si playing a soft zone out there. More than happy to let them try and complete stuff underneath and keep everything in front of them.
8:12 to go. That one a gain of 9, 2nd and 1 to go. Peterson with the give. Galatly off the left end, and he's undercut after he gets the first down and approaches near midfield.
And that was Hunter Malberg coming up from his safety spot, making the sure tackle, taking out his legs. That's what you do with a big back like that. You take out their legs.
You know, you're talking about the depth of Mt Si, and one of the conversation points earlier was really about how the frontline players for Mt Si are 4A quality. I don't think there's any question about that, but one of the challenges at a 3A school is that depth. And they try to build some of it here and gain it some experience. Peterson looking for the short pass. He's got his man complete. Short gain, though, and probably not going to be near a first down as Craig Grewe scuttles in from the right side for the catch and a little bit of a run. about 5 yards on the pickup.
Greeley was really whacked on that by the tackler, Van True. And you're always taught as a wide receiver to turn back outside. That's where the room is going to be for the wide receiver. And he didn't do that. He turned inside and got whacked for it.
Trips to the right, single set in the backfield. Peterson off balance throw, overshoots his receiver. In coverage for Mount Si, Trent Riley.
And Trent Riley really broke on that. This right here is going to be for the game.
We talk a lot about that showdown between Mount Si and Bellevue coming up in October. We hope to have that one for you here on Play On Sports. Stay tuned. We'll give you more updates on that as the season progresses. Big play in the middle.
That one's by Cotto right there. Here he was again making a play on defense as well.
Pass complete to Troy Potensky. But a short gainer, and it's going to bring up a big 4th down here for Issaquah. 6:50 to go in this contest.
4th down and 5. This really is for the game. Issaquah has a chance if they score here.
Peterson, 3-step drop. Flag is up in the air. No play. And likely will be against the offense. And it is. False start. Trying to get that extra edge on a critical play. And it cost him another 5 yards. So now a big 4th and 10.
And we've seen them have some problems on the center snap on the shotgun, so this will be interesting how they do it. And if you're Mount Si, what do you do here? You ask yourself, what do you do? Do you be aggressive, get after the quarterback, force him to make a short throw? Looks like they're going to at least come up to the line.
Standard 4-3 set, although the linebacker blitzing through. Peterson off balance throw, and it's nearly intercepted. Either way, though, the ball will go over to Mount Si, and Peterson took a big hit there, hobbles back up, and will make his way to the sideline. And Mount Si, the defense yet again holding.
Yeah, and I think we need to start looking at Evan Johnson as having to being the player of the game, at least from the defensive side of the ball. He has at least 8 tackles that I can remember, has gotten several penetration plays that have forced incomplete passes or forced runs to go for no gains or minus yardage. So he's definitely had a great game tonight.
There's a host of players you could mention in that. We invite you to stay tuned for a brief post-game show here on PlayOnSports.com. We'll select the player of the game and wrap up all the action from this ball game. That's coming up following the contest here on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. Cotto with a big run and brought down after he gets past the 35-yard line. Lightning coming off of the right end and a big gainer.
Derek Chapman making the tackle there. If he doesn't make that tackle, Cotto might be gone.
So Mount Si keeps it going. If a man goes down, they have someone to replace him. 6 minutes to go as Mount Si looks to go 2-0.
And now if you're Mount Si, you hope to get Riley Reed healthy for the coming up games.
That's true. You want to get practice for your depth, and there is Reed into the ball game. First carry of the second half, I believe. Riley Reed, the 5'11", 190-pound senior, and appears that he's loosened up well enough. But then again, he's slow to get up, and that could be the case here as he reaches for his right foot. But you hope it's not a situation where he finally gets healthy enough to come back into a game where you're leading 21-0. And you get him in for the carry, and then he gets hurt, but he pops right back up here.
That's such a hard thing for a coach. You know, you want your guys to desire to be in, but you as the coach, Charlie Canoon, you have to make that decision. Do we keep playing this guy when we don't really need him at this point?
And he'll jog off the sideline here. He'll check out, and I wonder if he'll get another carry here tonight. 5:30 left to go in this one. Mount Si trying to add to a big 21-0 lead. Wildcats hand off on the inside. And this time carrying the ball, Keenan McVeigh. McVeigh, 5'10" senior, 197-pound running back, also listed as a defensive end. Gets ahead for the first down. And a new set of downs for Mt Si as they look to salt away the clock, now nearing the 5-minute mark in this contest. Mitchell surveying the scene. Hands off. They'll try the right side this time. New running back in. This time Bailey Takis. The junior running back picks up a couple, but more importantly for Mt Si, keeps the clock going.
Yeah, and what you really want to do if you're Mt Si is you just go for the remaining 4 minutes that we have, 4.5 minutes that we have left. You want to make sure your guys are still playing hard, but also that they don't get hurt. You want to come out of this game healthy. It looks like Riley Reed is back and healthy. They're just going to let him rest out the rest of the game and just get out of this thing healthy and ready to play next week.
And off the Takis again, he rumbles ahead into 1st and goal territory, just past the 10-yard line. Well, actually, it's going to be close to see whether it is a first down. It may be short of the first down, so it may be 3rd and short instead of 1st and goal.
You know, and we see the ball boy out there. That's actually Hugh Millen's son, Cale. But one of the great things about high school football is you see these kids who are in junior football get to come out and be part of the team and be ball boys and things like that. You talk to a lot of guys who played in the NFL now or in college football, and they were ball boys for their high school teams when they were younger.
No doubt there are little ones all around the stadium dreaming of playing high school football here in a few years down the road. Little give to the up man through as they fake the option, and the dive is good for the first down. Actually, I take that back. They are marking it just short. I thought he had plenty of momentum to get that first down. But that not the case, as we're off a little bit of an angle from our broadcast position here. So 4th and short, and at this point, Mt Si up 3 touchdowns. Might as well just go for it and see if they can salt away the rest of this game.
Honestly, I was a little surprised. I thought they might let Van Winkle go for the record.
Mitchell on the sneak with 2.5 minutes left to go gets the first down here. That's true. That might have been a little motivation, but I think a couple of schools 20 minutes away, you're getting to a point in the ball game where you could potentially start to take a knee, but again, it's down to the 6-yard line. It's 1st and 6.
It is, and you know, Van Winkle's going to have plenty of chances to break the record this year. Don't need to rub salt in the wound of a team that your players are probably friends with outside of school and things like that. Not something you definitely something. It's more of a sportsmanship thing.
Well, considering that these two schools are in different classifications, an opportunity to actually root for the team that you're just playing with to go all the way, because it doesn't impact anything that you do the rest of the way.
And it makes your loss look that much better.
That's true. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Issaquah. They're going to go to 1-1 in this one, and you know, ranked 6th in the state by Seattle Times. A team that's 1-1 normally would fall out of the top 10, but still a strong team that's going to garner some wins along the way.
Yeah, and you really have to look at what Mt Si has done here defensively. This has been a surprise to me. I thought they'd still win this game. I didn't think it would be the blowout that it was.
Little movement on the play, and so 5-yard penalty on Mt Si backs it up to about the 11-yard line, and it'll be 1st and goal there with 1:23 and counting down on the clock now. Here's the handoff up the middle, still moving and finally falling forward. That's Keenan McVeigh. It'll bring up 2nd down and approaching the 1-minute mark here in just a moment. So Mt Si can start to focus themselves for their conference opener, and there's no bigger game than the next game on your schedule, that's for sure. And especially when it's your conference foe, because that's where the seeding for the playoffs starts to come into play.
Now they're just going to take a knee, it looks like.
Yep, 48 seconds left to go, and they're going to take a knee here. That was 2nd down and 7, so they can... Not sure if they'll need to take one more snap or not. It'll be 3rd and 7, but Mt Si, what about the defense?
Oh,
Unbelievable to start the season, 2 games without allowing a score of any kind.
stifling. They really didn't let Issaquah get much in the way of momentum as far as offense is going. There was one drive late in the first half.
12 seconds left to go. The final snap is in the books of this one. And we invite you to stick around for our brief post-game show coming up. And Scott, you were talking a moment ago.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, they just didn't allow very much at all as far as Issaquah was concerned. Issaquah had one drive where they could have gotten some momentum at the end of that first half, but weren't able to get the score and actually turned over the ball, and that allowed really Mt Si to show what they had.
Final score in this one, Mt Si defeating Issaquah 21-0. And the scoring, gosh, after the first quarter, we didn't think we were going to have any scoring the way things were going. We finished with a 0-0 tie after the first 12 minutes of play. But finally, Mt Si able to take advantage of some Eagles miscues, and they were able to get a short field and get a 10-yard completion from Nick Mitchell to Trent Riley for a score in the right corner of the end zone. A Van Winkle extra point made it 7-0. That was with 10:53 to go in the second quarter. Then, about 9 minutes later, Riley Reed did some work on the ground, and that might have been where he got injured. He had a long run, got it to the doorstep, and then they let him plunge in from 2 yards out on the next carry to make it a 14-0 affair, and that's where we were at the half. Not much scoring in the second half, just one score, and it came in the third quarter with 8:13 to go. It was Griffin McLean from Nick Mitchell, an 8-yard touchdown pass to make it 21-0.
Yeah, and what you saw from Mt Si as the game kind of wound down was the fact that Mitchell was a threat with his arm, but also with his legs. But they had the strong running game, and when you have a strong running game that's getting the ball going and moving, that's when you really have the ability to be deadly offensively.
So we talked a little bit about what's next for these two teams. You start the season and you wonder a little bit about what your team is going to be like, and then you get through a couple of games, and as a head coach and a coaching staff, you really understand what you have, and now you set into the meat of the schedule coming up. And for a team like Mt Si, they open up conference play. For Issaquah, they've got a great showdown with O'Day coming up next week.
Yeah, and for Mt Si, you open up against Juanita in conference. That's something that it's not going to be easy. I don't remember. Is that one on the road, or is that one?
It's going to be right here.
It's right here. Okay. So you get to get started at home here against a good team like Juanita in conference play.
For our player of the game in this one, Mt Si's Evan Johnson, who is a force on the defense. And I'll tell you what, fantastic to have him to be able to join us. And Evan, congratulations on starting the season 2-0, and you guys, unbelievable on defense. Yeah. Unbelievable. You guys haven't allowed a point yet.
Yeah, we're really coming together as a team in practice, especially. We can tell the difference from last year. We're having guys step up. We're not the biggest guys, but we're definitely the toughest. And we're really proud of our down linemen. We got the best pass defense there is. Hunter Malberg, Trent Riley, Tyler Button, all those guys having big games tonight, and it just goes out to all those skill guys too. So that's pretty much how it's going.
Unofficially 8 tackles and a pick in this one, and you've just got to take pride in the fact that you guys are yet to be scored on. And fundamentally, you guys coming together, it's been a series of state opportunities that just have not gone your way, but you guys have a mission this year. Yeah. Tacoma Dome on a T-shirt.
Yes, sir. We're taking it 1 week at a time, but at the same time, we got to look at the big picture. We got to just work hard every week in practice and take it day by day, because this is a special group right here. This is definitely a special group.
Well, congratulations, Evan Johnson, on the win, and also for joining us as the player of the game today.
Hey, thank you so much.
21-0, Mt Si the victory. The Wildcats in their home opener getting the win over the I don't want to say crosstown rival. They're just 20 minutes away, but the Issaquah Eagles from the 4A ranks. And in a ball game that saw the offense do a nice job of scoring, I think it's critical that we recognize the defense in our player of the week or player of the game segment.
Yeah. And what you saw from him was he helped really set the tone. Plays middle linebacker for Mt Si. They kind of rotate in and out of there, but plays middle linebacker, got in on several plays, was able to knife through and get several tackles early on, and really set the tone defensively for this team.
So we talked a little bit about the fact that they are on a mission, it appears, at this point, and that mission can take themselves in a lot of different directions, but there's a big October showdown with a team that's kind of been known for doing pretty well in football in this state, the Bellevue Wolverines, but a lot of football to be played between now and then. And, of course, we mentioned the conference opener against Juanita right in front of them coming right up.
And Juanita's got a lot, the same kind of team that Mt Si is. They're tough on defense. They like to run the ball. The one difference is, and really the difference in any team that Mt Si plays this year is going to be Nick Mitchell. How does Nick Mitchell play? He's got the ability to carry a team with his throwing, but how does he handle all that pressure? Because this really is his first year of starting.
So Mt Si getting the job done once again here against the Issaquah Eagles. It's going to wrap it up here from Wildcat Stadium at Mt Si High School, where the Mt Si Wildcats defeated the Issaquah Eagles 21-0. We'd like to thank you for joining PlayOnSports.com's coverage of Friday Night Football from Snoqualmie, Washington. Be sure to check PlayOnSports.com for information and links to all of our upcoming broadcasts. For our producer, Rylan Spencer, production assistant, Brian Hayes, our videographer, Martin Stowe, and my partner, Scott Eklund, I'm Alex Webster, saying so long, and we hope you'll join us next Friday night on your destination for high school sports and Friday Night Football, PlayOnSports.com. Good night, everybody.